Sri Sairam. Selamat datang dalam episode keempat Mencari Kebahagiaan Sejati. Saya Gladys Dewantari kali ini akan membahas sebuah perjalanan yang cerah menuju ajaran-ajaran suami. Suami pernah berkata, happy, 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 and be happy. Buat semua orang happy. Semua orang harus bergembira, bersuka cita, dan merasa senang. Maka senantiasa Tuhan pun akan turut berbahagia. Sebenarnya, apa itu kebahagiaan sejati? Mungkin terkadang kita selalu berpikir bahwa kebahagiaan adalah rasa, sebuah rasa dan sebuah emosi yang kita rasakan dengan sebab. Maka dari itu, untuk mengetahui dan mendapatkan makna dari arti kebahagiaan tersebut, mari sama-sama kita saksikan sebuah video dari Brother Arvin Balasubramanya.
Sairam, I'm standing on top of the town of Puttaparthi, which is beginning to wake up and bustle with action. Everybody is going about their own businesses, and in about half an hour from now, the whole town will be bustling with activity. And if I had to summarize the reason behind the whole town bustling into activity, it would be a single term: the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is the reason why we do whatever that we do. But then, why is happiness so elusive? In an interesting incident that happened in the 1980s, the summer of 1980, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, our dear Swami, was at his Vrindavan residence. And that morning, he called a student inside for an interview along with the several others who had gathered in the interview room. As the student entered the interview room, Swami looked at him and asked him, "Hey, how come you are here?" Now this student, Ravi Kumar, he was actually studying at the university in Anantapur, and therefore Swami seemed to be expressing surprise at how come he was at Vrindavan. Ravi Kumar told Swami, "Swami, the vacations have begun and therefore I am here." Then Swami asked him, "If it is vacations, why have you come here?" And the boy replied, "Swami, I have come here to have your darshan." Then Swami asked, "Why do you want to have my darshan?" Ravi Kumar replied, "Swami, because it gives me bliss." Now Swami further asked, "Bliss or happiness?" And the boy replied, "Swami, bliss." Swami asked him, "What is the difference?" Now there were so many others, as I said, who were there in the interview room, and Swami was in a way parading the wisdom that his student has. And as Dr. T. Ravi Kumar would later admit, at that moment when Swami looked at him in the eye and asked him, "What is the difference between happiness and bliss?" he says, somewhere within he felt inspired with an answer. And he is sure that it is Swami who inspired that answer from within. He replied to Swami, he said, "Swami, it is like this. Suppose I am hungry now and there is a gulab jamun. A gulab jamun is an Indian sweet, like a dumpling. He said, if I eat that gulab jamun, my hunger is satiated and I am happy. But Swami, 10 years from now, if I am feeling hungry, the memory of me having eaten this gulab jamun is not going to make me happy. It will possibly make me even sad because, I am hungry and I am thinking of a lovely, savory, tasty sweet. On the other hand, Swami, now I am having your darshan. I am feeling blissful within. 10 years from now, Swami, if I am possibly in a situation or position where I am unable to have your darshan, if I think of this moment when I had this darshan, then I will still feel the same joy and happiness. That is why it is bliss, Swami. Bliss never reduces and it is permanent." This little incident beautifully shows to us the difference between happiness and bliss, and also gives us the reason why happiness is so elusive. Happiness is not elusive. Permanent happiness is elusive. We find happiness in many things during our day, but they don't sustain. Now, why is it that they don't sustain? If we squeeze an orange, we get orange juice. We squeeze a lemon, we get lemon juice. The nature of the object determines what we get when we squeeze it. In the similar way, when we want to squeeze happiness out of different objects or things or moments or situations, the nature of the happiness is determined by the nature of the object or thing. If the object or thing is not permanent, it cannot be the source of permanent happiness. That is the secret. Therefore, when we want permanent happiness, which is bliss, we have to pursue something which is permanent. And that is what we call as consciousness or God or the divine energy, whatever term we may call it. That is the reason why Swami says true happiness is union with God. That alone can bring us happiness. Swami would often narrate a little story. In the state of Andhra Pradesh, we have something called the military hotel. The military hotel is a hotel which serves non-vegetarian food and liquor. And mostly people go there to get these at a cheap rate. Swami says that a South Indian Brahmin, well, of course, when Swami says Brahmin, it doesn't mean the caste Brahmin. Swami says one who is in pursuit of Brahman, the divine, he is called a Brahmin. So our caste is decided by what we do, not by our birth. So a person who is engaged in the quest of God is called Brahmin. So Swami said a Brahmin who doesn't eat non-vegetarian food walked into this military hotel and he asked the waiter, waiter, can I get some idli sambar? No, idli sambar is a sattvic South Indian dish. The waiter looked at him and said, sir, you must be a big fool. Didn't you see the notice outside the hotel? It says military hotel. How can you come to a military hotel and order for idli and sambar? Swami would then continue to say that man is just like this foolish Brahmin. He comes to the world, and on the world there is a board which says Anityam Asukham Lokam, which means this world is Anityam, impermanent, and this world is Asukham, filled with sorrows and misery. He comes to such a place and orders permanent happiness. How can you get that? How can you get permanent happiness from a place which is impermanent and filled with sorrows? You know, Swami would say there are two kinds of mad people in the world. Those who are worldly mad, those who are godly mad. The worldly mad feel that the godly mad are the mad people. The godly mad feel that the worldly mad are insane people. But the reality is that both are mad. However, of all the insanities that harass man, God madness is the least harmful and the most beneficial. Finally, Swami gave a beautiful thumb rule to determine whether the happiness that we are feeling is permanent happiness or not. Is the true happiness or not? This came about in another interview session with another student, the student Sanjay Mahalingam. He is currently teaching in the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Swami asked him, what is bliss? What is bliss? And this student is very well read in various scriptures and various works. And so he began to give different definitions of this Ananda or bliss. But Swami kept saying, no, that is not practical. No, some other definition. And finally, when the student gave up, as it usually happens, Swami himself gave a beautiful single sentence, small definition, which is so practical. Swami told him, causeless happiness is bliss. Just ruminate on this statement. Causeless happiness is bliss. Whenever we are feeling happy, let us ask ourselves, why are we feeling happy? What is the cause for this? And if I am able to find a cause, I can rest assured that it is not bliss, because it is having a cause. Finally, one day when I'm just feeling happy and somebody asks me, why are you feeling happy? And I say, I don't know. I don't know why I'm feeling happy. I'm just happy. Now that is bliss, because it has no cause. And that is the kind of happiness we must be in pursuit of day in and day out, whether we are awake or whether we are asleep. Once we find that, we find fulfillment in life, then it won't matter what position we have, how much wealth we have, what difficulties we have, what joys and little happinesses we have, because we will be in a state of peace, a state of permanent happiness. That permanent happiness, which we call bliss, comes in union with God alone. That is the reason as sadhana we are told Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, which means hearing to the glories of God, reading the glories of God, talking, discussing and singing the glories of God, thinking of the glories of God, because let us engage ourselves in thought, word and deed in that which is permanent. Then alone can we get permanent happiness. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Pemirsa, apa yang Anda rasakan setelah menyaksikan video tadi? Apakah Anda merasa bahagia, bersuka cita, senang, atau Anda merasakan kebahagiaan yang benar-benar tentram? Satu hal yang pasti, semua hal yang melekat dengan suami, itulah kebahagiaan. Jangan lupa untuk saksikan terus episode-episode selanjutnya, dan jangan lupa untuk subscribe, comment, and like channel Media Sai Indonesia. Terima kasih, Jai Sai Ram.